Well, welcome to the 2013 Diversity Monologues. You're supposed to clap after this. This has been a journey, and I want to first take this time to recognize the planning committee that was primarily made up of students, and they told me not to embarrass them one by one, so they wanted to stand collectively. So, committee members, please stand.
Let's go, RJ.
Woo! RJ, Kathy, Deanna Smith, Renee Alvarez, Andrew Maldonado. Anybody?
Katie.
No, I said Katie. So thank you very much. They really galvanized the last several months and did a lot of things in terms of planning the promotions, doing auditions, brainstorming about how to get people here, tweeting, Facebooking, all the things that I am not capable of doing. So thank you very, very much. Also, I want to just to give a quick shout out to Jason and Loretta for creating the awesome poster this year. Film student who was really tracked in recording tonight and did a lot of video productions to make this night possible, so we want to give it up for Dorothy. And I will be remiss without recognizing my incredible staff. Sean Washington, are you here? Probably hiding in the shadows. And Deb Ellis, is Deb here? And Libby Thompson, Libby's here somewhere. And Stanley. Libby does so much in the office, sometimes it goes unnoticed and definitely underpaid as an AmeriCorps, but we love her and thank you for all your hard work to help make this night possible. And all of our work studies in the office who stepped up and do all the things that we love for them to do to promote events, from street teaming to wearing human sandwich boards and accosting people as they're going in and out of Crosby saying come to the Diversity Monologues. Give it up for work studies. Of course, this night wouldn't be possible without a lot of financial collaboration, and we wanted to thank the sponsors, Gonzaga Athletic Department, the Community Building Foundation, GSBA/GAB, the Leadership Resource Center, the Parent Family Office, Residence Life, the Washington Air National Guard, and last but not least, the Office of the President. And the President has actually supported this since its inception, and this is the third year for the monologues. And so if you see President McCullough on campus, make sure you give him a fist bump or something to recognize his support and for the monologues. So without further ado, I'm going to turn the program over to tonight's MC, who is Kelly Zen-Yie Tsai. And her bio was like 5 pages long, so I condensed it to 1.5 pages. Because she is that awesome. And if I would have read her whole bio, that would like take us through the first 30 minutes, and you don't want to hear me talk. But I just want to read a few highlights. And it's been a pleasure to get to know her in the last day. She flew in all the way from the East Coast yesterday, and so she's not no more jet lag, so she's ready. She is ready, and she has the contestants ready as well. But she is a Chicago native, go Midwest. Midwest people gotta stick together. And she is Brooklyn-based currently, Chinese, Taiwanese, American spoken word artist who fights for cultural pride and survival through how she spits and how she lives. Her poetry, politics, art, and entertainment deepened as a flex skill as a founding member of Sirens, an all-female spoken word group that wove together experiences of the Asian, Black, and Latina American diasporas. Over the last 10 years, she has become one of the country's leading innovators of spoken word poetry. Touring extensively worldwide, she has featured in over 500 shows across the continental US, Hawaii, Canada, China, England, France, Germany, Kenya, the Netherlands, and Trinidad. Busy. Kelly's inciting, intimate, and entertaining poetry performances have rocked stages at venues like the White House. Heard of that? Yep. Nuyorican Poets Cafe, Cafe, the House of Blues, the Apollo, shout out for Harlem, the Kennedy Center, and the Lincoln Center, as well as 3 consecutive seasons of the Peabody Award-winning Russell Simmons Presents the HBO Deaf Poetry, and more. Again, that was one of the papers I cut out. She has shared stages with Mos Def, KRS-One, Sonia Sanchez, Erykah Badu, Jill Scott, on and on and on, White Cliff Jean, Tracy Morgan, Harry Belafonte, more, and I cut out that page as well. Kelly has won numerous awards and residencies for her work as a spoken word artist. In 2004, the Illinois Arts Council awarded her the Governor's International Exchange Award to support her attendance at the 6th Women's Playwright International Conference in Manila.
Woo!
Shut up. In 2007, she was awarded the Urban Artist Initiative NYC Awards by the Asian American Arts Alliance and the New York Foundation for the Arts. In 2008, she was an idealist in NYC, named her one of their New York 40 of top New Yorkers who made a positive impact in the 5 boroughs. And if anybody knows anything about New York, for example, if you live in the Bronx, you claim the Bronx, you don't claim Brooklyn or any other borough. So to be named all that in all 5 boroughs is a phenomenal feat in New York. So hats off to Kelly for that. She's done tremendous stage work and been a part of a collective Mango Tribe, an Asian Pacific Islander American women's multidisciplinary spoken word theater troupe. She wrote, performed, and choreographed for Mango Tribe's 3 main stage productions: Sisters in Smoke, which sounds phenomenal, the Creation Myth Project, that sounds phenomenal, and Unknowing, Desire, and Empire, all of which hopefully we might get to check out someday, as well as Mango Tribe's national tour from 2004 to 2006. And she joined the original cast, and I just love the title of this, so I had to put this in there, of something called We Got Issues, an arts-based civic transformation project based on feminine-centered leadership for the hip-hop generation. So I could go on and on. That's just like the 1-page summary, but you don't want to hear me, you want to hear her, and we're excited to have her all the way here from the Big Apple. Let's give it up for Kelly.
Excited to be here, and I don't know if you've taken a look around this room. Can you take a look around this room and just see how beautiful this room is? I'm like, hello, America. Hey, all of you, America, right here, all in this room. I think it's really amazing and fascinating, interesting, the fact of all the different things in human history that had to come together for all of us to share this space. Do y'all feel me on that? Yeah. All the things in human history that our grandparents, our great-grandparents, our great-great-great-grandparents were never afforded this opportunity that we're having right now. Just to sit in the space with each other. And not only sit in the space with each other, but to hear each other's stories from our hearts, our minds, our spirits, our souls, and just share it here in this space. So make some noise for that. for you right now. They're sitting in kind of like the hot seat right over here, so they give some love to our amazing. Coming up here. You know, in the spirit of poetry slams, I was telling some people earlier, the way I got into spoken word was because I had a high school English teacher who used to sneak me and my friends into the bars in Chicago to watch the original poetry slams go down. And, you know, it's really interesting, this whole idea of the slam, or the whole idea of competition, right? And I was talking to the contestants before this, that, you know, in Chicago there's a tradition, when the guy who started the poetry slam, how many of you have ever heard of a poetry slam? Yes? Yes, okay. Oh wow, suddenly we got very classroom-like. I have. I know the answer. Okay, sure. We can go. I'm following you. You know, it's all right. But, you know, the guy who started the poetry slam, he's a guy named Mark Smith. The tradition in Chicago is when you say Mark Smith, you're supposed to say, so what? Mark Smith? So what? Mark Smith? So what? Mark Smith? So what? Because that is the point. We don't care who you are. That was the point of the poetry slam. We don't care who you are. We don't care about your fancy degrees. We don't care about how much better you think you are than somebody else. We don't care if you won the slam 15 times, 15,000 times in a row. We don't care. What do you have to bring to the stage tonight? Are you bringing everything that you have? Have you tried to become a better writer than you were the week before? I was telling them that in the poetry slams back in the day, you know the awards that you got? You got a can of Spam. You got $10 worth of lottery tickets. You got like a really like cheesy like Fabio paperback, you know, novel from the dime store, you know? And you felt good. It felt right because you had the opportunity to share your words and to share your life. And Mark Smith used to always say, oh, Mark Smith? So what? Used to always say that the thing that people don't understand is the poetry slam was just created as a ploy to get people to come together, to listen to poetry, to create this amazing show. And we're not doing just straight up poetry tonight, but I think you all get what I'm saying here, right? That we've all come together as a part of this amazing show. So give your love to these amazing contestants. But one of the call responses we often do is the point is not the point is what? And you say poetry. The point is not the point is what? Poetry. The point is not the point is what? Poetry. The point is not the point is what? Poetry. All right, so give it up for yourselves one more time. And even though the point is not the point, we have a couple of judges here tonight. So I'm going to introduce to you our judges. We have them split across both sides of the room, hovering, staring, scrutinizing. Do we care what they think? No! Exactly! Okay? So, this is your time. This is our time together, and the judges, do we care about what they think? No! Right. But anyway, here they are. So first, our very first judge is Jordan Love. Give it up for Jordan. Majoring in psychology, loves spoken word, and she also is qualified to be a judge tonight because she is an addict for Ben and Jerry's Heath Bar ice cream. Give it up! Also rounding out our judges' corner at this side, we have Rudy Mondragon. You might know about Rudy as, you know, the founder of Diversity Monologues, yeah, kind of, sort of, something like that. He did that. He did that. So you might want to give him a little love. Rudy! For some reason, he's over at U of Washington now, so, you know, but we'll forgive him for that. I was just joking. I'm not even from here. Gosh. I'm like trying to start beef. I don't know. And he's qualified to be a judge tonight because he's crazy about soccer, boxing, and is a recovering Jersey Shore addict. Give it up. Let's move this side to the judges' table. Back there. Okay, we have Patty Gates, who is the executive director of the Community Building Foundation, which empowers local organizations to help our community experience justice, vibrancy, and sustainability. But more importantly, she is a judge tonight because she has a cat named Fred. Give it up! of judges. We have Seema Thorpe. Give it up for Seema Thorpe. She is the Assistant Dean of Students in the Division of Student Life, founder of the Center for Community Action and Service Learning, and she is qualified to be a judge tonight because one of these days, she wants to turn into her Persian grandmother and cook all day. And she has offered to take all of us after the show home to teach us how to eat. It is so early in the evening for that, okay? It's so early. As I was saying, she wants to take all of us to teach us how to make chicken and walnut pomegranate sauce. Yeah! Ready for some monologues? Give it up one more time for Tracy, Umack, and the amazing Britney. All right, so I'm going to walk you through the flow. Everyone, focus, focus, focus. So this is what's going to happen. I'm going to introduce the contestant. You are going to scream wildly like you've never screamed before. Just don't take your clothes off. Not till the end. No, not at all. Okay. And then there's going to be like an awesome, amazing multimedia video thing that happens. Then the contestant's going to come here, share their life, spill their guts. Some things are going to be funny. Some things are going to be sad. Many things are going to be thought-provoking. Many things are going to make you feel things. Yes? And after that happens, then the judges will judge them, okay? And then we will move on to the next contestant, all right? So, contestants, just so you know, the order is Mike, Brittany, Cheryl, Michael, Aaron, Patrick, Nina, and Emanuel Bobby. Got it? Ready? Good. Are you all ready? One more time. Diversity? Diversity! Truth! Yeah, I know. It's a long time. It's a long time. What day of the week is it? Wednesday, you know, hump day, whatever. Okay, so I need you to really clap, scream, stop, show your love for the very first person we're going to welcome to the stage. I want you to give it up for Mike Anderson. Give it up!
Anderson. I'm a sophomore here at Gonzaga. I'm studying history with a minor in Spanish. I decided to enter this year's diversity monologues because I just thought, you know what, I think I can do that. So I started writing a few poems and spoken word things here and there, and they turned out to be amazing. So I was like, you know what, I think I can do that. The description of my monologue. So its use theme is how cultural tradition transformed you, and then I started thinking. And since I'm gay, I just thought I could do some of my coming out story and just how growing up like within the church and everything and how that affected me and how my family took it, I could write my monologue on that. So that was kind of my inspiration for that.
I'm Mike Anderson, as that thing said, and this is my monologue, Hiding in the Shadows. Faggot, homo, gay, queer. All words I've grown quite familiar with, yet words nonetheless. Statistically speaking, as a teen, I heard these words an average of 26 times a day. Just words was all they were. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Well, how come if words will never hurt me, I cut myself and thought about taking my own life? How come if words don't hurt, so many gay teens have prematurely left this world? These gay slanders cut deep like knives. Hearing them since the first grade, I internalized them. Macklemore states, these words are synonymous with the lesser. And the lesser was not who I wanted to be. Being black and Native American, society has already made me the lesser. Why would I give society one more reason to discriminate against me? When I first told my mom in the 8th grade, she told me she loved me, but that I needed to keep it a secret if I did not want to get hurt. She also told me that if I wished to pursue a career in football, my sexuality had to stay hidden. Why should any parent have to tell their child this? Why should any person have to hide who they truly are? Why? Because society tells us that being gay is unacceptable, that being gay is a sin, that being gay makes you less of a person. Holding on to this secret killed me. I felt as though I was living a double life and I was only 14. I felt sad and depressed that due to the beliefs of my family, the church, and my future career goals, I could not be truly who I was. When I was 16, my aunt found out. She told me I had a demon inside of me and that I needed to get rid of my sickness. Growing up in church, I had been taught this ideology all my life. I felt ashamed of who I was. I wanted to get rid of the sin. And when I told my pastor, he told me I wasn't gay. He told me that what I had was sin, and that if I prayed to God, I could be cured. So he sent me to classes taught by formerly gay people. And they also told me that if I prayed to God, he would take away my sickness. By the second class, I knew that this wasn't the right place for me. Going to church felt awkward. How could this man I loved my whole life hate me? I felt broken and hurt, and I rebelled from the church. If my father no longer loved me because of my sin, then who would? When everywhere I turned, besides my mom, told me that I had sin, who would ever love me? So I ran to the arms of mysterious men, giving my love to them for just a night, in hopes of being loved for the real me. Yet the more and more that I gave away, the lonelier I felt. Who would ever love this demon-sick boy? When I was 18, I decided to come out. I was no longer going to play college football, but instead take a leadership scholarship to Gonzaga. For once, I felt as though my life was transforming. I could come out of the shadows and reveal my true Superman, and no longer have to be just Clark Kent. Coming out, I found more love and acceptance than I ever thought possible. My conservative papa told me he loved me no matter what. My loving Nana told me the same. My dad told me that my mom told him when I was 14. When I asked why he never said anything, he responded, "Because you had to tell me when you were ready." My football team supported me, and my friends stood by my side. Coming to Gonzaga, I was afraid I would not be accepted. However, little did I know, people would welcome me with open arms. Through the love and support of my friends and family, I know that I am loved, even by my aunt and the big man upstairs. Dan Savage states, "It gets better." My Native and Black ancestors fought for freedom, legally fought for freedom and equality, and they achieved it. Now it's my time to fight for the same thing, to create equal rights for gay people of any color. So that way people can marry who they love, show love wherever they want, give a child a home, or better yet, be treated like normal citizens. I want to help create an accepting world, so that way when a child comes out to their parents, they won't be told to hide who they are. Or even worse, they won't suffer the effects of their parents' conditional love. They won't be told by the church that they are unloved. Better yet, they'll feel accepted and live long and prosperous lives. I want to help create a world where all feel accepted and no one feels as though they have to hide in the shadows. Thank you.
When I say courage, you say strength. Courage. Strength. time for my Very important. Thank you for kicking it off for us. Also, how many, make some noise if you know what's going on right now with the Supreme Court. Very important because, you know, our highest court of the land is asking all of these different questions about where can people, you know, are all people equal? Are people all equal and have the rights to be fully enfranchised in all these different ways, right? So big questions, deep questions, questions that resonate all throughout the country. And we have that all right here if you look in our picture tonight. So give some love. Judges, even though we don't care what the judges think, right? Just go, if you don't care what the judges think. We don't care what you think, but are you ready? Judges, you all ready? Yeah? Okay, are you all ready for our next contestant? So, very important. I know we start off really hype and then you get like just, you know, dizzy with like the ecstasy of just being in it. And then you and then by the end you're like, you know, so we got to, you all set the bar high, so you got to keep it high, okay? Got it? Yeah. Okay, so please show your love to Britney Clark.
Hi, my name is Britney Clark. I'm a sophomore from Dana Point, California. Fun facts about me, I like cats. Everyone knows I love cats. My monologue is called Fierce, inspired because I love Beyonce and she's completely super fierce. What gave me the idea was I was just hanging out with some friends and just the way I was sitting, my friends started to make fun of me because I was sitting like a boy apparently. And I just had this instant flashback of when I was little, my dad used to sit like this and I used to think it was cute to mimic him. I was like, I'm like dad. And so then just brought back a bunch of memories that link in, and so once you hear it, it'll kind of make more sense, but that's kind of where it all started.
Anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you. No, you can't. Yes, I can. Preschool. Those were the days. Back then, it was about playground rules. My preschool, we had a boys' team and a girls' team. You see, the girls during recess, they would build forts and play house in them. And the boys, well, they'd play very aggressive games of tag and eventually destroy the forts the girls made. I didn't have cooties. It was decided, and after I punched this pudgy kid in the face and didn't cry. It wasn't unprovoked though, okay, you guys? I was so adamant on wearing this fancy Easter hat to school on that particular day, and my mom was like, all right, Brittany, but better take care of that. And that pudgy kid ripped it off my head, threw it in a puddle, and then laughed. So I punched him, he cried, and I joined the boys' team that day. My first presidential election was in the 5th grade. Thought I should get some experience before I took over the White House. I had this election in the bag. My posters were bomb, and I was out on the playground like, my name's Britney Clark, make your mark for Britney Clark. But Nikki O'Brien had me by 2 votes that day, literally 2 votes that day. When I went to my teacher and asked her why I had lost, she told me, well, Nikki, he's a boy, therefore a better candidate. I learned that I had a pretty strong poker face that day, at least until I got home. No, I can't. I'm sitting on the cold marble counter, my dad's little 6-year-old legs dangling over the edge. I'm watching my dad methodically shave his face, and I reach for that big can of shaving cream, spray it in my hand, and I put it on my face too. And I take my pretend razor and I start mimicking the swift movements dad looked at me and he was like, Brittany, what are you doing? And I turned to him so seriously. I was like, Dad, I'm going to be president of the United States, so I should probably learn how to shave my face. He put the razor down on the counter and very assertively said to 6-year-old Brittany, you're right, Britterbug. You also miss a spot right there. Yes, I can. I was the captain of my varsity debate team in high school my senior year. Sitting next to me is an unqualified teenage boy. Sarah should be there, not him, but my coach, she was adamant telling me that an all-girls team can never win regionals because women who debate sound bitchy. Therefore, we need a man to offset this presentation. Being on varsity debate team, I was relentless in arguing that Sarah should be there. She finally caved and said, you need to get used to this idea that you can't win in the world as a female alone. No, I can't. College. Bro cred. Awarded to females who have a creepy ability to relate to the minds of a dude. My friend says this is a potential resume builder, right? If you can relate to guys here, then you'll be equal in the business world, right? Yes, I can. But I can't shake the image of my mother coming home from a hard day of work, stuck in the same low-paying job, because all she has is a high school degree in people skills. And she tries to hide her tears today. This isn't the first time that a man has preyed on her. You see, my mother, she is beautiful, and she is curvy, but she is objectified consistently. And part of that comes from the culture of Orange County where boob jobs, Botox, and rich, powerful men are everywhere. Where girls are taught how to be sexy in the 8th grade by the beauty and diet regimens of OC's finest housewives. I can't tell you how many of my friends were put on slim fast diets when they're 14 by their own mothers, and how many have gotten plastic surgery since we've graduated high school. But my mother, she was fierce. She used to tell me that she was going to kickboxing that day just so she could kick ass on that day. When my dad lost his job, she took up 3 to take care of us. When we were on food stamps, she's the one who stood in line because he was too ashamed. When my dad was unfaithful, she stuck it out. When he was verbally abusive to her because of his substance abuse, she stuck it out because she had no way to get out without the aid of another man. And she tried to hide that from me for as long as she possibly could. But she is not as strong as she used to be. The cancer, it wore her out. She's tired. She's weak. So now I have to be fierce. I have to be determined as a woman in this world and realize that I'll always be oppressed. And I've been told this all along. In high school, in the 5th grade, hell, at least in preschool, I was able to even the score, but only by boyish tendencies. But despite that, I have to be selflessly strong and committed in everything I do to honor my mother and for being a woman. No, I can't. No, I can't bear to see another woman like my mother who has been trapped in this glass ceiling for all of her life, who has been oppressed and objected on the basis of circumstance. I refuse to be weak. I refuse to be viewed as someone's plaything. I refuse to be asked to make a damn sandwich. But mostly, I refuse to be scared out of a powerful career like jackasses like Rush Limbaugh that say things like, I love the women's movement, especially when I'm walking behind it. But despite my family's vices, I've always been told that I had the capability to become whoever I wanted to be because I was their daughter and they loved me. My family has never denied me of my dreams, and they're my biggest cheerleaders to this day. But society has tried to deny me, warn me, and scare me. That sometimes it's worked, but not anymore. Because anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you. Thank you.
mark, Britney Clark.
Make your mark!
Britney Clark.
Make your mark!
Nice, excellent. Do you know like Sasha Fierce, single ladies? It was so funny in the video when you were talking about like sitting, you know, cross-legged or whatever. I was at this party once. I'm like, yes, we're getting a little personal with Kelly. Is that okay? When the judges are deliberating. I was sitting at this party once, and it was so funny. I was, you know, I normally like stand like this, and this dude like looks at me, and goes, "What made you so confident?" And I didn't realize what was happening, but then I realized I was standing in a circle of, you know, 3 other women were around me, and everyone was standing like this. But then for some reason I was standing like this. But it was so interesting, right? These little things that kind of seep into, you know, our life. So when I say fierce, you all say fierce, fierce,
Fierce.
fierce,
Fierce.
Talk about crappy teachers too. Hey, everyone give the thumbs down. Boo to crappy teachers. Those teachers that are like, you can do anything except for anything you want to do. That's like as I get older, I'm always like, why did I listen to those people? They didn't know anything. But anyway, sorry, teachers. Hey. Give it for your good teachers. Yeah. But anyway, judges, are you ready? Yes, 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 yes. Okay. Audience, are you ready? Good, good, good. So, I want you to show your love for Cheryl Viel.
All right. Hi, my name is Cheryl Viel. I am a junior psychology major, Spanish and dance minor. I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico. So if I had to give a small description of what inspired the theme for my monologue, it would just be the legacy that was left by my family, in particular my grandpa. He left a really, really strong legacy of just family, faith, and traditions in my family. And I felt like this was something that needed to be celebrated, not only within myself, but with anyone else who's had a similar experience. And it just to kind of celebrate this whole legacy of love and learning that just doesn't necessarily come with money, or it doesn't necessarily come with a ton of education, but it just is, it's born from love, and it is fueled by love.
And basically the context behind this word is that when you're peeling chili in New Mexico, which is something that I do, you rub like Crisco or lard over your hand. Manteca means lard. And you rub it all over your hands and then you peel chili. So that's my monologue is called ANUG. Who are all these people? Why don't I fit in? Where did all these white kids come from? All I wanted was a change, not to be dropped in this weird place where snow never melts, and to be asked where I'm from means a follow-up question of what the hell are you doing all the way up here? Oh my god, that's where they filmed Breaking Bad. Wait, how close are you to Mexico? Oh my god, say something in Spanish. I'm not complaining. In fact, I'm happy to enlighten. After all, isn't eliminating stereotypes the first way to really understand each other? Though I have to admit, sometimes reconciling 2 different places so dear to my heart feels like splitting into 2 different people. After the cancer took my grandpa, while I was too busy being from Washington, I decided I didn't want to do that anymore. I just want the New Mexico sun to shine bright within me on the crappiest, snowiest, slushiest Spokane day. But how? How do I bring 2 worlds together? It's the age-old question I feel like I'm forced to answer. But I have to. It's in my genes to make it happen. To do all that I can, and when I'm done, have an attitude of gratitude to the one who truly makes it happen. It's easy to see this place as unfamiliar. It's easy to complain of a 1,300-mile ride to school. It was easy to overlook the precious gift, the salvation that is this place, in the name of homesickness. That is until I was sitting in the tiny little church that made my childhood blessed. San Ignacio de Loyola Parish. Ad majorem Dei Gloriam, for the greater glory of God. A mantra that loomed over my head literally years before I knew that it would change my life. Running up and down the aisles as a child under the watchful eye of my Gramita and Grandpa. Oh, and the statue of San Ignacio. Feeling chilly in the fall, con manteca y todo cubierto. In the backyard of the church, named for our main man, San Ignacio. Sitting quietly with my siblings and cousins, getting our school supplies blessed. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. And in the name of San Ignacio. My childhood spent in the presence of God and San Ignacio, in an atmosphere of complete love, faith, and learning. With a family who shared obstacles, laughter, and strength. San Ignacio. Saint Ignatius. It's all really the same, isn't it? I left home to come home. I was sent here to carry on the legacy that followed me in Albuquerque. There is no need to be bitter. This place is not foreign, and it never was. Manage San Ignacio Parish, they told my grandpa. A daunting task, no idea what was to come. A humble man of Española, New Mexico, called home to live for the greater glory of God. And the legacy continues. I answered the call. This place is not foreign, and it never was. I'm called home by a message that surrounded me in Albuquerque and now surrounds me here. But I guess that's how it goes when you are a child of the one who bounds not only states, but nations, in the name of his greater glory. You don't have to be two people to belong. Just one. One who has been given new eyes, transformed by a powerful spirit, to see unity, to be unity. Even if it is just through the tiny church in Martinez Town, Ghettoville, Albuquerque, New Mexico, the message is the same. Ad majorem Dei Gloriam, A.M.D.G. Gracias, San Ignacio.
They're deliberating, they're thinking, they're having motions, they're looking away, they're reading away. I think they're good. Are you good? Yeah? Okay. Okay, so I want to know, are you all ready for the next contestant? Let's see up and show your love for Michael Harris!
I'm Michael Harry, and I am a sophomore here at Gonzaga University. I was born in Littleton, Colorado. I've lived in north of Seattle for 18 years in Snohomish. I would define diversity as different points of view about an issue based on people's experiences, and then bringing those experiences together in discussion. My monologue deals with the issue of alcohol abuse and how that's affected my life, and some of the insights I have regarding how I think that affects GU as well.
Yeah, hero! Get it, Harold?
My dad blacked out the first time he drank alcohol. He was 14. His reality was the Irish Catholic drinking culture of rural Nebraska in the 70s, where alcohol was as necessary as eating and breathing. They didn't trust people who don't drink. Temperance was as distant as the ocean he had never seen. My father grew up in a world of alcoholics who didn't know that is what they were. Both his parents abused alcohol, as did the priest who married them. Of their 8 children, 7 struggled with addiction. For my father, the use of alcohol that he found so innocent in the beginning turned into a lost decade. The behavior that provided social acceptance led to massive problems and emptiness. Alcohol abuse evaporated his aspirations, which longed for a life more significant than those of his parents and contemporaries. Steadily, his alcoholism intensified and the choices he made became more destructive. After killing his college opportunities and desperate to find a way to solve his problems, he moved to the Northwest. The change of scenery did not provide the antidote he was looking for, as his demons followed him and his problems persisted. Only in the darkest magnitude of desperation was he awakened to the reality that alcohol and substance abuse were the root of his issues. It is here that he met my mom. Her father, a nasty drunk, left when she was 10 years old, and she never saw him again. Her mother struggled to raise her 3 children and turned to a live-in boyfriend, a raving alcoholic. My mom was so embarrassed by his perpetual intoxication that she was ashamed to bring home her friends. Her situation scarred her and her siblings to this day. My uncle was 14 when diagnosed with cancer, and remembers stopping at bars on the way home from his chemo treatments. He would vomit from the side effects as he was forced to wait outside in the car. When my mom left home for college, she determined that alcoholism would never again be part of her life. When my parents got together, they vowed that their children would never experience alcohol abuse in the home. My dad, by then a sober alcoholic, decided that we would never see him drunk. I cannot articulate how much this changed the course of our lives. Growing up, my parents taught me that alcohol is a tool for enjoyment, for those who can use it responsibly. Nevertheless, I saw the ugly consequences of sobriety. I found that many drinkers don't understand non-drinkers. To them, we are calculating and shifty. They see temperance as a walking referendum on their behavior. We were often excluded from social cliques, and I saw that the folly of alcohol my parents warned us about was no exaggeration. I remember when my drunken neighbor drove his Hummer into the neighborhood pond to see if it would float. He later did it again, this time into the banks of the Lower Columbia. Another neighbor got so wasted he couldn't make it to his house to use the restroom. He tried to urinate in his lawn, but he couldn't unzip his pants and peed all over himself. These are some of the lighter stories, but I saw the ugliness as well. Our dentist, a decent and successful man, fell off the wagon and now lives in his car. A drunken middle-aged passenger once threatened my sisters on a trade ride through Jersey, forcing a physical confrontation with my father. These stories hardly scratch the surface. My childhood was idyllic and I took it for granted. Yet no force in my life had greater influence over the person I am than alcohol. Unlike my parents, I am defined by its absence. My parents were open about their history with alcohol, and I knew how much pain it brought them. I considered alcohol abuse among the most grievous transgressions. As I grew older, I saw more clearly the destruction caused by alcohol. I consider drunkenness a shameful act. When my high school friends began drinking, I didn't know how that they could turn their backs on the values upon which they were raised. It weighed heavily upon me and created a fault between us. I thought they were sinning against God and their families. When I arrived at college, I could not believe that people could drink so much and give no thought to their actions. Nothing I could imagine could make me feel more shame than being drunk. I didn't know how to handle myself. I knew I would never be a binge drinker, but I had to find a way to live my own values without judging others. I thought long and hard about how to let go of my anxiety without suppressing the incessant dripping in my conscience. Whenever I saw my friends drunk, I had flashbacks of the hideous stories my parents told me of their youth. Yet I felt I was missing out on all the socializing that surrounds alcohol. My summer was filled with many days wondering what to believe. Were my friends all immoral, or was I missing something? I experienced 3 months of agonizingly slow reflection capped by moments of understanding. A friend reminded me of a quote that changed the way I approached the issue. Many of the truths we cling to depend greatly on our own point of view. I was finally able to ponder why I really hated alcohol so much. It ravaged my family for generations and still does. My parents were the first to slay the dragon. They rose above the circumstances that held them down so long. We were powerless, underprivileged, and poor. When my parents left the life of alcohol behind, they shattered the caste system in which they lived. We must always slay our dragons in order to advance. Evading our problems is not an option. Alcohol abuse is the personification of running from problems. It allows us to forget about our burdens, but provides only a temporary fix. For generations, my family turned to alcohol to deal with their problems, but it demanded everything they had in return. It took away our dignity. I have realized that in order to be truly human, we must rise above the things that drag us down. This truth hit way too close to home this year, as I saw with clear eyes the devastation that alcohol abuse levels on families. In the darkest moment, I was informed that my aunt had just hung herself. She struggled with substance abuse for 40 years. Each time she tried to rise above it, she was sucked back in. I know she wanted to be more than garbage. She knew she could not defeat her demons, as her mind and body were weak. Yet she would not let them torture her any longer. Taking her own life was her final act of defiance against the forces that claimed her humanity. The part of her that was a person died long ago. It was then I understood just how messed up my family is, and that was not the only revelation. My parents were the first to reclaim their dignity. I am compelled to continue their forward march by facing my problems head on, which is the only way we become fully human. Despite all the hardships of the past year, I am a person changed forever. My former darkness has given way to overflowing optimism. There is nothing we cannot achieve when we rise above the things that hold us down. If we choose to face our problems head on, nothing can stop us from reaching our fullest humanity. I do not condemn nor accept the alcohol abuse of my peers because their experiences are different than mine. I only know that I choose a different path based upon my own point of view. Reliance on anything beyond our own dignity makes us slaves. I come from a pedigree of people enslaved by their insecurities and the use of alcohol to dull them. Let me be clear. I am no prohibitionist. I have drank alcohol before, and I will do so many times in the future. I think that the moderate consumption of alcohol is a great thing. I can even tolerate the fact that from time to time, people are going to get drunk. But what I cannot do is accept the wishful thinking that chronic alcohol abuse is normal and something to be proud of. Not when I have witnessed the systematic destruction of people's lives due to the dark consequences of alcoholism. If you disagree with me, tell it to my classmate who never progressed beyond the level of a 4th grader because his mom beat him down in her drunken stupors. Tell this to my friend whose mom just drank herself to death via cirrhosis. Tell it to the girl who sleeps with lots of guys because her dad spent more time with Jack Daniels than her. Explain it to all the families broken by alcohol. When the layers are stripped away, there is nothing glamorous about alcohol abuse. The truth is that the line between alcoholism and having a good time is far thinner than any of us want to admit. When you have crossed it, you will find that your freedom is gone. I am here to tell you that through freedom, our chains are broken. My life is a testament to staring down dragons. It is the inescapable reality of who I am. If we free ourselves from the conditions that shackle us, there is nothing in our past that can dim our future, no wall we cannot scale, and no heights we cannot achieve. Thank you all so much.
I'm a senior at Gonzaga, studying engineering management. I'm from Honolulu, Hawaii. If I could describe myself in one word, I would have to say blessed, because there's so many ways to describe yourself, but one thing that's constant about myself is that I feel blessed every day. My monologue is actually about the relationship I have with my parents and about the problems I felt growing up as a first-generation American. And I'm from Hawaii, so there's a lot of Asian Americans, but it's different being a first-generation Asian American, because a lot of people don't notice what it's like when you don't speak the same language as your parents. And so that's what my monologue is about. It's about the issues I felt when I was growing up and the issues I feel like my parents had with me growing up.
My monologue is called Someday. Alright. Maybe someday I'll pay you back, Ma, for all the struggles and troubles you've been through, the hardships you sailed through, the problems I threw at you, for the language barrier between us that you could never pass through. I should have tried harder to learn your language when I was little, because now without that skill, some words go unspoken, some secrets unstilled. There's so much I'd love to tell you, because I know you'd love to know about your son, what my hobbies are, what I've been up to and what type of man I've grown up to become. There's so much to share if only I knew how to tell you. The conversations are short as if I barely know you. The distance is far and the talking so hard. And what hurts is to know I've left you emotionally scarred, see. I wasn't exactly the best son a mom could ask for. But that's why I try to make it up to you by calling you more. You always said your whole life how you wanted a daughter. And sometimes I'm sorry you had me and not her. Your whole life changed. Yours, the one that mattered. But you thought of your children's lives before you happily ever after. You moved to the U.S. and knew no one else but the husband that brought you when you committed yourself into giving us an opportunity to live for the better. Because if we were born Americans, then your nerves could be settled. And so you sacrificed it all, left your own family behind, traveled across the seas that was once upon a time. But that fairy tale quickly became a married hell. And Mom, I know your whole love story very well. I was the one man in a family who seemed to give a damn, but I was too busy trying to grow up according to your plans that I retaliated, rebelled. As a teenager, I yelled. You couldn't tell what the cuss words I spit, the secrets, all the shit talk I did to you. You were so lost and confused, the language unfamiliar, but still ready to bruise. And I regret it, Mom. I regret letting you come here, letting you give up your life for mine. Because I know you have nothing else there across the state line, over the Pacific, stuck on that island. You have no one else that loves you, Mom, at least not as much as I did. Your days are routines that you've slowly fallen into, and Dad's loud snores is what you've slowly been falling asleep to. It must be lonely, Mom. I know my phone calls don't really satisfy your need for affection, and I know it goes unattended because Dad shows you no attention, but he cares. Deep down inside, he really does. Dad's just never been the type to know how to show love. You said it yourself, it's in his blood, it's in his nature. It was engraved in him by the traditions he was raised in. Maybe one day, Dad, we'll actually talk. Because it seems we haven't had a real conversation since the day I took off to become a man living away from home. Damn, Dad, did you realize that day was 3.5 years ago? Do you regret the decisions you made? You seem like you're thinking a lot these days. And mostly it seems like you want to spend more time with me. But you don't know what to say. You don't know what we should do. Because I grew up so fast and mostly without you. Mom raised me. You just stood on the sidelines. Actually, you only ever made it to one game of mine. The rest of the time spent drinking or working, or making Mama cry, having her think she wasn't worth it. And remember when I was young, the things you tried to teach me? Well, I remember your temper when I couldn't succeed. After I got to 5th grade, I stopped asking you questions that had to deal with life because you didn't have any lessons. You supported me somehow through your time spent on the couch. As an ATM, giving me money whenever I went out. I'd be in and out the house doing sports and just trying to get away from your presence. Because, man, it was so depressing seeing how you didn't know what to talk about or how to even address me, your own child. It must hurt a lot, Dad, having all those regrets. But still, I can never forget the childhood full of neglect. From the father who I had but never really had. And I know that just comes from your relationship with your own dad. But still, I'm your son, your second boy. You should have known better. That a boy needs a man to teach him how to live and how to weather the storms, because learning it on my own has made me annoyed of being at home. It transformed me to refuse my family for my brotherhood of friends. It taught me how not to have a relationship with my parents. If you were going to have me be raised as an American, then you could have at least tried to help me fit in. You should have tried to come out and meet my friends' parents instead of using the excuse you didn't really speak the language. The only ones that you talked to would have to be Korean. And even then, you guys would only talk about what classes we got A's in. You were too busy being Asian. I had to learn to be both. How to deal with both cultures while learning how to grow. Who you taught me to be wasn't who society was telling me to be. And you couldn't understand because you didn't know, of course. But still, it hurt me inside, especially since I couldn't explain it with words. You didn't know the traditions that my friends were growing up by, only what you grew up with, so I had to learn a lot of things on the fly. And as I got older, you got slowly adapted and became more flexible than when I was a kid. But it was too late. I was already an adult, stuck in the middle of two cultures with what I thought was a burden I'd have to carry for life, split between two cultures, wondering which to live by. But that was just ignorance. A time before I knew better. Now, Mom and Dad, I see how to live with both together. I see what you did for us, the life that you gave us, through slaving away through long days and being the brave ones. Even though it still sucks that we don't have a closer bond, and that communication between us was never something strong, I can't blame you guys. You guys did it for us. Me and Sean are grateful for all your unshown but well-known love. We know the hours you put in to make our lives possible, and I wish we could have done it without all the obstacles. I wish we could go back and rewind this life's clock and rebuild our family from the bottom to the top. And maybe someday we'll pay you both back for all the time we lost. And I'm hoping, inside, when we finally repay the cost, that the language barrier will be broken and we'll actually get to talk.
I'm International Relations and Psychology double major. I'm a senior at Gonzaga, and I'm from Puebla, Mexico, which is about 2.5 hours southeast of Mexico City. Fun fact about myself, I always carry a hot sauce bottle in my backpack. You never know when you need, when your food isn't going to be spicy enough. And so it's a smoked chipotle, you can only buy it in Mexico. My monologue really focuses on growing up in Mexico and coming back and forth between Mexico and the United States, and kind of addressing some of those stereotypes that I faced throughout my upbringing.
For those of you who don't believe, if you want to try it, just find me later. Okay. Okay, so my monologue is titled, Wait, You're Mexican? I know, right? Alright, so, good evening, buenas noches, good morning, buenos dias. Mama, papa, mom and dad, the typical upbringing of any Seattleite boy, wouldn't you agree? Spanish at home, English outside, always switching, always changing. Getting on a plane, second nature. I hadn't even turned 1 year of age before I got my first passport. From the north to the south, from the rainy comforts of the Pacific Northwest to the eternal spring of Puebla, Mexico. The eighth of over 20 cousins, big families were normal to me. Without being consciously aware, family became everything. My grandmother once told me, your family is everything. They won't turn your back on you. This became true when a bully in school punched me in the face at a high school birthday party. But that's a story for a different occasion. Want to hear that one? You see, when I was living in Seattle, I felt different. Hell, I still do. Growing up, I was simultaneously speaking 2 languages, reading and writing in both English and Spanish, mixing my words, not being able to blurt out my comebacks because I was thinking of the opposite language. Damn it! It was a headache. and they shouldn't have made me look really stupid. At home, Mom always dressed me in cardigans, darker-tight pants, and collared shirts. Probably because she was used to the more formal dressing of kids in Mexico. My siblings and I were always standing out. My mother's garb of choice for us wasn't the norm at Bryan Elementary School in Seattle. I hated wearing loafers, I didn't want a comb-over hairdo, and I most certainly didn't want to be wearing collared shirts. All I wanted was a buzz cut and to wear a dirty football shirt. Eventually, this habit settled, and later at Gonzaga it would take time for it to wear off. You know what they say, old habits, they die hard. Let me tell you a little bit more about my background. As you can tell, I'm about 6 feet tall, have brown hair, speak fluent English, and have greenish eyes. I know what you're thinking, you don't look Mexican. Whenever I'm asked where I'm from, I'm always met with blank stares. Really? You're from Mexico? You certainly don't look Mexican. Many times I've had to explain myself. It's not my fault that there's such a strong stereotype associated with the physical features that a Mexican person has to have in order to be considered Mexican. Even after explaining to my counterpart that many Europeans did immigrate to Mexico following the Spanish conquest in the 16th century. They still have trouble linking my lighter skin to, well, being Mexican. However, the same can be applied to me in a Mexican setting. I can't tell you how many times I've been approached to an historic pueblo by tour guides asking me if I'd like a tour. I smile and I say, no gracias. This intrigues them. Your Spanish is quite good. You know, I just take a deep breath and I smile. I just shake my head and I walk away. This is sometimes what I call the idea of being a limbo Mexican. It is hard. I'm categorized as an oddly American-looking Mexican in Mexico and an oddly-looking Mexican in the United States. Quite the oxymoron, and it splits my head if you ask me. However, I've learned to embrace this and go with the flow. Because in my eyes, being Mexican, having culture and tradition goes beyond the color of your skin. These are always an awkward set of questions. And even though I blend quite well in the United States, a lot of times I feel like I'm a fish in a foreign tank. You see, for a few months prior to starting the grade year of the 4th grade, my world would change forever. The little blondish boy who lived at 7048 18th Avenue Northeast in Seattle would officially stop calling Seattle his home. The answer to the simple question, where are you from, would cease to exist. An answer that most of the time I try to give in a nutshell. Puebla is a booming metropolis 2 hours southeast of Mexico City. It became my home, and just like that, I was out of my element. I now lived in Mexico, a country that soon enough will become the source of my pride and joy. Always switching, always changing. The Rios family, the Mexican side of my family, is very large, Catholic, quite conservative. Family gets together on Sundays at Grandma's house no matter what, so forget about hanging with your friends on Sunday. And if you decide to go out on Saturday evening, be sure to get up early and in time for Mass. That can be painful at times. So, where are you from? Mexico. Really? Where were you born? Seattle. So you're not really Mexican, are you? I just don't respond. How can you be Mexican? I mean, you're white. That makes no sense. Being Mexican goes beyond your skin tone. It's more than being short, having dark skin, and black hair. I specifically remember one time flying into Mexico when an airline attendant, who I knew was Mexican, handed me my immigration form. When I replied, gracias, she smiled, then looked over at her coworker and whispered, este gringo ya se sintió mexicano. Let me translate. Translation, who does this, insert derogatory American term here, think he is? You know, I looked up and I responded to her in Spanish, of course, that she should be careful what she whispers, because she never knows who's going to be listening. If I did some embarrassment, she gave me a Mos Def glare and walked away down the aisle. I don't know what became of her. So, being Mexican is more than a skin color. It's about your background. It's about the incredible, traditional, delicious foods that are unique to each region. From mole to chalupas and gorditas, tamales, quesadillas, and sopa de chicharrón. In Mexico, I know. It's painful, far away. In Mexico, any occasion, especially soccer game days, call for reunion and celebration. Being Mexican is about family. It's about counting on those who are of your blood. It's about sharing moments, holding your grandparents in the highest esteem. Being Mexican is more than a skin tone. To be Mexican is to lay eyes on the red, white, and green flag, and the majestic eagle and feel an overwhelming sense of pride. To be Mexican is to feel joy when your when your flight begins to descend into Mexico City airspace, and despite your flight attendant comments, listening to the pilot address the cabin through the overhead in Spanish. not to mention exiting the plane and having the immigration officer welcome you to your home in your native tongue. It's pretty incredible. For me, my upbringing has shaped my life. Traditions handed down for decades. Finding who I am through those teachings and what is important to me through the values instilled into me from that young age. Culture has made me who I am. Culture goes beyond your skin color or race. Being Mexican isn't a race, it's a culture. Being Mexican is being in family. And I'm proud to say that's what makes me me. Gracias.
Montoya. I'm a sophomore here at Gonzaga University, and I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico. I love science. I'm a biology major, so super nerdy, but I love like microbiology and bacteria. I want to study that forever. It's great. My monologue is inspired mostly by my grandma and the things that she's taught me and kind of reminded me of throughout the years, reminding me to be strong and speak up for who I am and what I believe in, how things have changed throughout the years, what I've learned, and how what I've learned in school and just in life has changed or really like pushed my traditions and my family to evolve and grow, and how those have affected who I am today and how I see myself and how I choose to represent my culture and express it to others.
Grandma is proud, obviously. She is matron in white and curls. There's this altar every Christmas, and Niño Jesus in the middle, wrapped in hay that would easily catch light and burn the house down, Mom warns. Mom says move, and she says no. Stubborn. Stubborn tradition was a stay at home, wash the floors, cook the meals. Stubborn, she got a degree. Stubborn, she reminds me to speak up and, focus on your schoolmates though. Grandma never throws the old jars. Yellow, yellow, pink, pink, yellow. Candles melted away years ago. Grandma lets me play with the hay as long as I don't get any pieces on the floor. Watch the carpet. Grandma sits with me in church. Mom notices the same tin stars, dented, hanging, tacky magic. We keep them. Today, Grandma needs me to take off her coat, hang her scarf, make sure her cane stays close. But she still comes and listens and pats my knee at the good parts as if I've heard it too, though today I have more questions than answers. Stubborn, I wasn't supposed to have questions. Traditions of old, we don't keep. Spanglish to the neighbors, and the neighbors speak in Spanglish. They love it when Grandma tells them, "Esa niña, mi nieta, todavía habla," because I was supposed to forget. By traditions of new, merchants of the cool, the struggle for expression of this skin. Then the neighbors asked me questions. Wide-eyed because I speak in tongues of their ancestors, our ancestors. The neighbors said tamales. They forget we don't eat meat. Pork has stayed on the plate while masa is picked off, years going beyond the mind's count. Stubborn, but we kept it. Bizcochitos melt and make us fat, but it's okay because Grandma thought that was healthy when we were babies. When tradition said to hush, to sit down, to paint our faces white, the things we don't keep, but these are new things, opinions completely free. If she told me what I like it or what I like it, if she told me the things I had to borrow, because I was too scared to use my own. This diction that counted for not the words of Stein now mattered more because I'm brown. What traditions told me I was beautiful, or was I beautiful if she told me? And the textbook with pages of my people marching in circles and smiling. These traditions told me I was beautiful. Beautiful, but I had to speak. Speak against ignorance of painted flowers, black nose. I had to scream. Did you hear? You heard, didn't you? Tradition said I had to talk to you. But who are you today? Tradition said to ask and to be curious, and now I don't know who I'm talking to, but you hear. Tradition said I will figure it out, and then I can look up and crumple these words and send them to the sky because you heard, because you all heard. You all heard. Grandma is proud, obviously. Proud of her Chicana granddaughter who has to stay Chicana, but who has been taught to work for it.
Contestant to the stage, show your love for Emanuel Bobby. Week!
My name is Emanuel Bobby. I'm a senior, studying English and Humanities Sociology, and I'm originally from Washington, D.C., and was raised in Maryland. Okay, so fun facts about myself. I like to smile. I didn't like to until someone told me that I had a good smile, and then I just started cheating. I just smile all the time. And this letter is specifically just my story. It's not, or like stories and experiences that I've shared with others that I grew up with. I guess if I could talk to America, this is what I would say almost.
My name is Emanuel Bobby, but all my friends call me Bobby, so you guys call me Bobby too. And I'm gonna steal a page from Kelly's book. So when I say dear, say America. Dear America. No. When I say dear, shout America. Dear America. Dear America. You fooled me. I held my hand to my heart heavy with pride for you. As a youngster, you raised me to think that I should die for you. And now I question my loyalty, for I am no fool to believe in a system that doesn't even believe in me. Tell me, how could I die for a country that won't even let me live in peace? Troubled by being black in America is dichotomy. If nothing else serves to say, then you brainwash me. Winter of 2010. You started young. Elementary school education gave me street smarts. The pretty girls with the light-skinned ones with the long flowing hair like Pocahontas. And the ugly girls with the overweight, dark-skinned girls that couldn't grow hair to save their lives. You never gave us a middle ground. Where was the in-between? Aunt Jemima or Jezebel? Tyra Brains or Precious? We, black men, thought we wanted to run our finger through their hair without having to worry about it getting caught. We wanted them to have the body of Beyonce and her hair too. So they resorted to the long flowing assertions of fake hair and extension pieces. And they traded in natural curls, loops, and braids for the hair that looked like willow branches billowing in the wind. They wanted hair that would reach far past their backs, flipping and tossing behind any indication of ancestry, and you stroked their ego. You patted hair that wasn't there, hair that wasn't theirs. And you combed through and brushed out truths so that they could forget. Truth that they were much more than black Barbie dolls with big lips, breasts, and curves. But they forgot. How could they be comfortable in their own skin? Everything about them was ugly, evil, and flawed, you said. Loud, ghetto, angry sex toys, this was all they could live up to. And you showed them this. Sitcoms and parodies marked out culture and exposed generalities, like blackface, 1848 Henry felt so close. Where white men covered with color, painted pastels of blacks, blackface and red lips, the modern day Cirque du Soleil, come watch the beast roar and dance on stage. Happy Sambo, Coon, and Manny. And now, just like back then, we sing songs, dance, and perform. Like blacks built to entertain, right? I mean, we rap on records and shuck and jive when the party's live. But when the music dies down and the game ball deflates, we are left silent, shush. But we, black people, are half to blame. And the other half? Melanin. Is that what took away power and placed us in this situation? Melanin. Who would think that a single cell would be the determining factor? Black cells hidden under black skin. We are kid melanin and I. Left to blame. Black like me, darker like me. And as a black boy, I saw no worth to black girls other than what their black curls and black curves could offer. And I saw no depth. Because to plunge into the depths of another is to go deep down and discover their darkness. Afraid and ignorant of myself, my unknown, my own blackness, I did not discover another's. So you critiqued and convicted them. You nailed wooden boards to their exterior, covered them in caution tape, condemned, beware you bellow, watch out you warned. But there was nothing to fear, except you. And it's ridiculous, but we've all become accustomed to it. And it's why we say you can't have too many black people in one place without something going wrong. To despise a congregation of one's own kind, textbook Jim Crow. Just like how you passed that law in December of 1833. The act that stated no person of color, whether free or slave, shall allowed to preach, to exhort, or join in any religious exercise with any persons of color, either free or slave. So we were taught that we should not even worship God together, either free or slave. So it's not surprising that even with choice, we choose to be put back in those same times and despise our own kind, either free or slave. And now I'm left to worry that what we are, stuck without knowing what we are, either free or slave. And we lived and fought to live because our lives were in the hands of a white man. And when he opened white hands, he took our white wallet, but he didn't pull out $green bills. No, he fumbled over black faces. He pulled out Sam and Tom when he wanted to go to tickets or have tickets to go to the theater. And he traded bucket wins when he no longer needed them. And he fancied the idea of Harry Smith and Emily Walker on auction. First week, hot August of 2011. The sticky hum of heat and humidity lingered all around me. And I walked through, placed a transparent bag carrying today's lessons plans on the conveyor belt metal detector. I traversed tall metal doors like skyscrapers and waited to be patted down. I stretched my hands ready for crucifixion. At least that's what it felt like. Once searched, I entered my classroom and waited for boisterously rebellious black male faces. They came in, you were not delinquents, you say. I taught that one lesson, manhood, remember? I scribbled script on the whitewashed board in blue marker. What does it mean to be a man? You taught them well. Those quizzical looks told me that they didn't understand, but they bellowed you by. You gotta have money, and you gotta have a main bitch and a side bitch. And put both of them in their place. And you gotta make sure nobody can mess with you or step to you. I intervened. Who taught you this? The old heads from the hood. Like village elders, they were supposed to train up the new generation. But like abused victims, they were merely mimicking the conditional rules that their conditions conditioned them to. And they taught them what you taught them, and the cycle continued. And I tried to reverse the tide that centuries of brainwashing have produced. But tell me, what hope do we have if you continue to incorrectly educate the future of the black man and the black woman? As a black male, you made it hard. You prescribed who I should be. I believed you. I was given no ultimatums, given no choices and directions, swear profusely, smile seldom. Be brute, indulge in anger and hate, victor of sexual virility and drug-lord husband to my welfare queen. I was told this was my fate. And in my neighborhoods of urban DC and Maryland, biological fathers were scarce. And so we settled for single mothers and stepdads. Stepdads that only wanted to fuck, eat good food, and sit on our couches until Ma came home with this week's check. And I thought my family was the exception. My dad wasn't the best. He wasn't always there physically or emotionally, but I thought he was the exception. And he stopped being the exception when I heard he gave my mom an STD. He stopped being the exception when bruises painted her back like blotches of modern art. And with hard hands, shaky voices, and tears, my little siblings woke me up, me and my older brother. And we rushed to her room, but the door was locked. And she was waiting for the police, but the blue and red lights were laid to splatter against our windows and walls. And we finally unlocked the door and shoved our way through. And he tried to push her down. And when he did, we leapt over the bed with all speed and strength that our mom used us to push us out of the room. And we wrestled him down until the police came. And we looked into his eyes. And then we saw it too. He was no exception. He was no man. He even told my sister that she wasn't her daughter, that she wasn't his daughter. And that broke him. And so we wrote him off. And we still don't judge him, and we forgave him. Like I said, we don't judge him, so neither should you. And where could we turn to feel the strong and masculine glare from a proud father? I had no one. I had no image, no mirror to show me what to scope myself into. I looked around and I saw no one. No one but the thugs, hustlers, fornicators, bums, and friends that were left to me. So in my younger years, we underwent the transformation. We left our belts at home and let our pants sing just as low as our hopes as real men. And we tossed aside our clean tongues like unused condoms. It was taboo to film. There were a lot of us. Keith, Gian, Devon, Jovan, Alan, and Wayne. We looked up to the generation ahead of us. We talked about how Corey slept with Sophia in the park. Both their parents kicked them out, and now she was giving him head on the slide, literally head on the slide. And we talked about Michael. He whipped the dick out on the after-school bus and told this girl to suck him off. And she did, right in front of us. But these were our men, the ones that we celebrated back then. When I got to high school, I saw other men. Our teachers and coaches were kind, but we were suspicious. They patted us on the back, they dapped us up, and they even hugged us. I didn't tell anyone, but you fooled me. Here I was, without these men, and now I wanted them. I wanted a man. I thought I was gay or something and wanted a man. I wanted Mr. Henry to pick me up over his shoulders, pat me on my head, and say those 3 words that I heard fathers say to their sons in movies. I wanted Mr. Lewis to take me away from my home to a better place. Strong-jawed, muscular, reliable, honest gods. I worshiped them. I wanted to be close to them until you showed me 6 o'clock news. School teacher molest little boys. My dad told me that that's all they were, molesters. Ironic. And you touched me to think that they touched me. I was convinced. Wolves in sheep's clothing. These were my traditions. I was trained in the ways of a black male from Northeast DC and PG County, Maryland. God only knows how I escaped the concrete caves in the mindset. And I should have been like Alan, who rots in a cell right alongside his younger brother. Or maybe like Sophia, who ran and kept running until she became a myth. Or like Gian, whose face O2 skeleton-like has become sunken with the haze of cannabis. And these are the tales. Like tribal chief, I wish I could sit around a fire and whisper. These are the traditions that transform me into the man I am today. These are the messages. I wish I could tell you, America, because I don't care to win. I'm eager for a platform by which to yell my words to the world. Sincerely, a black man.
Monologues, you know, a poem, like a whole range of things, you know? But a lot of times people think spoken word or like hip hop or whatever all has to sound one kind of way and you have to have one certain kind of swag, which I think is so boring. It's so awful. And when you really talk about the nature of rhythm, Give it up for originality. Tracy as we go into intermission. Give it up for Tracy.
We're going to take like a 7-minute intermission to kind of stretch, but if you don't want to stretch, I don't recommend stretching, but you could, you know, whatever, because we have a special treat to keep you engaged right now. We have Mike from Be Open.
How you guys doing today? Man, I just want to commend all you all, those talented, inspirational, motivational pieces. I appreciate you guys sharing. And I'd like to thank you, Miss Tracy and UMEC, and just everybody who's allowed me to have this opportunity to be here. I have a Be Open mic night at Gino's, Wednesday nights at 9 o'clock. So if you guys aren't doing anything tomorrow night, head up to Gino's. And what it is it's an open mic night allowing you as people to come and just express yourselves, be open on the mic. One thing I try to do is just inspire, motivate, encourage you all to be, everybody to be. And I think tonight is just a good example of how everyone is being with their different stories and their different monologues. So, but one thing I do during the night is, do we have another microphone? Miss Tracy? One thing I do at the open mic, I get 4 words from the audience. And normally I have a band behind me so it can, you know, disguise my non-singingness. But I have my man Lionel Liberty beatboxing behind me. Y'all give it up for Lionel. Do you have a microphone? I feel bad because everybody else wasn't using a mic and I'm sitting here using one. I just like to hear my voice. But I get 4 words from the audience, and then I just make a song out of it off the top of my head. So look at you just jumping the gun. All right, so I need 4 words. Las Vegas. Weaves. Oh, no, we're not. Last week was weaves was one of the words, and we made a nice song about that. I'm not weave. I'm not weave. And weave is fake, right? So I'm not fake. I'm as real as it gets. That was the theme of the song. Y'all give it up for weave. Any more words? Anybody? Anything? It has to be a word I know the definition of, though. Brown? Proud. Las Vegas and proud. Anybody else? Quality. Diversity. I was waiting for that to come. So we got diversity, proud. I'm not using weave. Las Vegas. Help me out, I forgot. Quality. Was it equality or quality? Equality. I'm gonna write these down. Miss Tracy, where did she go? Do we have another microphone?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. I need the microphone.
Alright. The Lionel's gonna drop the beat. We're going.
We're gonna give it a warm up. Alright, okay. I'm warm. Alright, give me tempo.
Clap your hand.
Slow that down.
I'm proud Yeah, I'm proud to be diversity. Yeah. From Maine to Las Vegas, we all got different ways that we do the things we do. Just be who you want to, cause you can be what you wanna be, say what you want, live how you wanna live, play how you wanna play. Shout out to MC Hammer. Diversity, I'm proud to be diversity. Y'all can help me out now. Come on. I'm proud to be diversity.
Let's get water.
I'm proud to be diversity. Yeah, I'm proud to be diversity. Yeah, I'm proud to be diversity. I'm a color. My name is Mike. Hi. How are you doing? I'm proud to be diversity. You took my line. I'm proud to be diversity. Give it up for Kelly, y'all. Great job. Now we got to hear her poems. I'm excited, aren't y'all? Diversity, I'm proud to be to become.com. Y'all get some. Thank you. I'll come back for more.
Are you all down for some more poetry? I like it. Okay, so now take off host self. Hello, Kelly, poet self. Hello, everyone. How's everyone feeling? Okay, cool. So, once again, you know, this whole time listening to everybody do their monologues, so moving, so beautiful. Beautiful, 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 amazing writers, right? And a lot of times I think poetry is so interesting because think about it, we are animals that somehow through making sounds, you can understand what I'm saying to you, right? Like think about a bunch of squirrels sitting and talking to each other and you're like, what could they possibly be talking about, right? But there's so many complex things that happen, although we're just animals making sounds. How strange, you know? And that to me matters. Right? How beauty, yeah? The truth, you know, when you're talking about spoken word, when you're talking about hip-hop, when you're talking about making something from nothing, right? That's work of nice spirits. It's beautiful stuff. So, y'all ready for some poetry? Yes? Yeah! Let's start us off with a piece. This actually I wrote back when I was living in Chicago. I live in Brooklyn now. Hey. I was doing like a hip-hop theater show that was all about race, gender, media, and the other. And me and my fellow collaborators, we were like, oh, let's think about all the different ways we're marginalized from mainstream American culture for months on end. And I was like, it was making me crazy. I was like, this is bananas. And I was like, you know what? For once, I would like to think of myself as the center of everything in the universe. So I wrote this piece. This piece is just called Self-Centered. If I was the center of everything for a day, everything would be aimed towards, dictated by, catered to, tailored for 5'2" tattooed Asian females. When you turned on the television, no Martha Stewart, no Tom Brokaw, Kate Couric, or Stephen Colbert, just 5'2" tattooed Asian females giving makeup tips for the Asian eye. Instructions on how to raise children multilingually in America, advertisements for custom-designed builders who retrofit houses for the fabulously petite, news that tells of the latest community organizing campaigns, and where the hottest DJ set is for that night. Everything catered to me. all of the movies would tell the stories of wayward, liberated activist brainiac single girls and our loserish MC boyfriends, healing wounds with family members overseas while fighting for fair wages for factory workers around the world, which would be ease. Since all of the governments would be run by 5'2" tattooed Asian females, we'd wave to the cameras enthusiastically, give out free sandwiches to the entire world every Wednesday. We'd match our lip gloss to our fair trade boots and throw a dance party every time we signed a truly revolutionary bill. And I get to ask people dumb questions all day. This isn't everybody a 5'2" tattooed Asian female. And isn't it so great to be us? But you know what? I might let you, non-5'2", non-tattooed, non-Asian, non-females, I might let you keep your languages. I might even give you equal access to education and healthcare too. I might even share the airwaves and our houses of government, give you a shot at working your way up in our financial institutions, because I know that there is no you without me. And from the only to the other, I know there's no me without you. An essay for a feminist anthology called We Don't Need Another Wave, Dispatches for the Next Generation of Feminists, or something like that. I don't even really remember. You know, so they asked me to write an essay, so I gave them a... Yeah. I like that, the big question mark. It was great. It was like, just in case I'm wrong, I'm going to loudly say it with a question mark. But, so, you know, I was thinking, you know, sometimes people who are activists or people who are feminists, sometimes they're like, I think the most judgmental, haterish people. Oh, I'm speaking of myself, you know what I mean? And, you know, so that, you know, and I think like feminists, like I've been to feminist conferences, you know, where women be like, you know, and she's keeping us back with her Playboy bunny outfit that she likes to wear on Halloween, and it's just sending us all, you know. And I always think about, you know, when you care about social justice, when you care about social change, when you care of being, you know, of the community and for the community, right? That means embracing people who are far different from you. And that means embracing people in a way that you might be fighting for rights that they don't even want, right? But you want to fight for the expansiveness of that space for them to be able to make that choice. And so when I really thought about what I wanted to say to this next generation of feminists, I was like, you know what, I would love a feminism that really includes the real women in my life. So this piece is just called Real Women I Know. Real women I know have flaws. Not just cellulite and acne scars or body odor or bad musical taste, but serious flaws. Flaws like cheating on our partners or stealing our best friend's lovers. Flaws like looking for what's the best inside of ourselves, inside of somebody else. Assuming crisis, assuming miracle, or assuming nothing at all. Real women I know never knew how we grew up so fast, holding fists out with eyes closed. We become wives, divorcees, widows. We become addicts, abusers, liars. We become all that we didn't understand about the adult world, shocked that the little girls in us haven't yet disappeared. Real women I know keep no good friends on the couch for months. Don't bug them about their hustling. Let them back in when they come knocking at the door. Real women I know are in therapy and madly in love with our shrinks. Happy to talk about the sad parts, sad to talk about the happy parts, sick of going on medication. Real women I know destroy ourselves through work or television, starvation, or people who refuse to treat us well. We are persistent in these efforts, and yet we cannot refuse the invitation to continue on. Real women I know work thousands of miles away from home, collect barrettes in a chest of drawers, pack cardboard boxes full of soap, shampoo, and candy to send home. Real women I know support the economies of entire countries. Real biofemales gals I know aren't women at all, but trans boys, genderqueer or gender fluid, with short hair and button-down shirts, genitalia only one tiny part of the gender puzzle, when the world offers so much more. Real women I know laugh in bed while smoking weed and eating Girl Scout cookies. Post diagrams for our partners on how to give oral sex properly by the bed. Real women I know have given up sex to find love, or just now remembering how it feels to sleep in bed alone. Real women I know are mothers. Unexpectedly, the babies come and teach us to stand with 2 feet on the ground, arms stretched wide open, ready for whatever arrives. Real women I know are driven into the ground eternally, never given rest. Take on everybody else's problems, never allow ourselves to give up. What my friends actually are like. Everybody doing all right? Yeah. Okay, if I do a couple more poems? Yeah. Okay, cool. You all are the diehards. We're running so over time, but you're like, we want more. Rah! Yeah, I love it. So this next, this is, oh my goodness, give it up for Tracy. Give it up for Tracy. It's well taken care of, well lubricated and such. But this next poem, I want to give in thanks of, my own badass grandma. So once again, give it up for your another funny thing about grandmas is since my dad was raised by his grandmother, he was a huge Barack Obama supporter because Barack Obama, like my dad, was raised by his grandmother. Which I thought was so funny. I'm like, who's doing that demographic research around the raised by your grandma? Yes, raised by your grandma. But this piece is for my maternal grandmother. In Chinese, there's a lot of different words for every single member of your family. It's quite complex. So this is for my wife, Waipa shuffled tiny feet from the foyer to the living room. Clicked on the TV, brushed her steel black hair into stiff wings. Outside, a burning heat. Chicago in August. Waipa buttoned her shirt with arthritic fingers, removed her teeth, dropped them in a glass of water. They bounced like she did, from one child's home to the next. Jinghua in Chicago. Suhua in DC, Dading in Cincinnati, Weihua in San Francisco, Dai in Dazhou in Taipei. So far from being that baby girl that she was in Shanghai, the one who kicked the cloths off of her bound feet, dove into the marriage bed of her husband, birthed 6 skinny children from 7 sickly pregnancies. Children born to survive every war, running first from the Japanese, then from the communists, exiled to live in Taiwan, where Waipa rolled out dumpling dough into thin-skinned flaps, cupped each square in her palm, made every dumpling precious. Another flour looming, its weight anchored in the center of her hand. She'd smear its pocket with meat, twist a sock, close and repeat until it was enough to feed 6 children, 1 husband, 1 sister, 1 brother-in-law, and eventually herself. Waipa stuffed bracelets and anklets over my baby hands and feet, laced my young neck in red thread and pure gold. Waipa saved my umbilical cord and let go of me, the child that language and migration would steal from me. It is this woman's skin that covers me, her cataract eyes that watch me from above. So this next piece, I could relate to so many people who were talking about, just the cross-cultural confusion. It's crazy. People think that I am everything, whereas I feel like
I look very, you know, Asian. And I look pretty Chinese, I think. But I've had, you know, when I was in Trinidad, it was so funny. This one guy, he came up to me, and you know, like in Trinidad, they call Chinese people like Chinese, you know, and there's like a lot of like Chinese people there, yeah. And so he was like, what are you? And I was like, I'm Chinese. He's like, you're not real Chinese. I'm like, yes, I'm 100%, you know? And he's like, hold on a second, let me go find a real Chinese. Like, he was going out of the street to try to find another Chinese person to put next to me and be like, this is what a real Chinese person looks like. And you are obviously not it. I've had people think I was Native American, which was really funny. This woman, I was wearing dangly earrings, you know, and this woman, she's like, oh, so you're Native American. I was like, no, why? Like, you know, or people think that I'm Latina, or people, you know, do that ambiguous, you're mixed, right? You know? Something about, you look kind of ethnic, you must be mixed, you know? So it's really interesting, you know? But like growing up in the Chicago area, which is a very like black and white kind of town, you know, like in Chicago, the demographics is like 5% Asian American. When I was living there, I was like the only Asian person that a lot of people knew, right? You know? And I was working on the west side of Chicago, which is like 99.9% black, right? And I remember one of my students, you know, when I was working in this neighborhood called North Lawndale, you know, she said to me, she's like, you know, Kelly, I'm glad that you work here. Because before I thought they were just black people and white people. But now I know there's black people, white people, and Chinese people. Good, this is progress, yay! So, you know, thinking about that and Asian American identity and how you fit in and all this kind of stuff, I wrote this piece, you know, a long time ago when I was living in Chicago. So it's about Asian American identity, and it's called Making Guacamole. Eating a guacamole taco at a taqueria in the West Side ghetto where I worked, I was suddenly sent back to the sight of my sister at 12, kneeling at the kitchen counter of our parents' home. She sat, scooping green slivers of avocado from out of their broken skins. Anxious and small, I would squeeze the round limes, put their juicy pulp to my tongue, how my greedy little fingers do finely diced piles of tomatoes, onions, and peppers, hoping to be the one to mash them all together in the end. My sister and I were not trying to start a dialogue. We were not trying to be politically correct. We were not trying to bridge the gap. Looking out the restaurant's windows, I see construction workers drill away in Ogden, reminding me that white folks usually don't come here unless they're drug users, missionaries, or doctors, soon cruising away, seemingly undisturbed in their shiny cars. Some days I adopt the same looks of suspicion and surprise when I see one of these outsiders walking around the neighborhood. I wonder what they're doing here, glance at my own wrist, and realize the hypocrisy of my question, knowing that ever since I was small, I was supposed to have a color in America, which is neither black nor white. I'm not a chameleon, although sometimes I do think that I've tried to. I'm struggling to reason what we have in common, what it could be worth, tearing away ancient Asian histories to build the unified front of today's Asian American society. I dream of a cocky Asian nationalism when sisters wear chitas and kimonos and are hair in those seriously funky, gravity-defying do's every single day. When we have taken all of our languages, melded into one to recall us to our values and our pride, when we have a voting bloc and boycott power not to be screwed with, when our music saddled to the buck-wild backs of Asian rhythms is blared out open street windows, when somebody could say, hey, quit acting so yellow! And we both understand what that could possibly mean. When we can belong to something and it can belong to us, when we are proud of our accents, knowing, yes, this is what American English sounds like too. When screaming out yellow and brown power, it could encompass all of the stories of war-torn refugees from Vietnam, Cambodia, Sri Lanka, of my parents who were lured here by the brain drain, of the Japanese Nisei and Issei in the American internment camps, of the Filipinos who came to the dirty South in the mid-1700s, of the Chinese who drove the stakes into the railroads and worked alongside black sharecroppers in Mississippi, a nationalism with the weight of all of these things and more. Marking the day when my family will quit saying American when we mean white. When we will have chucked out our own sense of eternal foreignness. When we can envision the face of America as ourselves. But my life has never been that clear, that pure, that unwavering. Listening to hip-hop, I press skip past the tracks as my identity is spun as ball-busting kung-fu masters or stingy Korean grocery store owners. Having grown up in the suburbs, I wonder now which of my childhood friends realized that race consciousness isn't optional for everyone. I find the same values for family amongst Latinos, the same sense of guilt shared with Catholics and Jews, the same sense of insignificance shared with Native Americans and Arab Americans. If anyone were to ask me, what is my community? It will be a complicated answer, coming from the lips of a child of immigrants who thought to simply exist in America was to succeed. Eating a guacamole taco at a taqueria in the West Side ghetto where I worked, I thought of my sister scooping and slicing vegetables. I thought of all of this. I thought of all that kids do when left to their own devices, how there were so few boundaries for us, how we found joy in it, how something as odd as two Taiwanese girls making guacamole in the Chicago suburbs during the mid-1980s tells the story of the creeping of contacts and contexts, cultures and colors, finding homes in the foundations of our minds, creating the rituals of the community of us. I'm going to do a couple pieces that I don't do too often, if that's all right. How many of you, we give it up one more time for UMEC and all of the folks on the planning committee for making this. It's really interesting thinking about the history of the Pacific Northwest. And a couple years ago, I was out on Whidbey Island doing this, this retreat and all this kind of stuff. And I was craving Chinese food because I was like, oh my goodness, I need Chinese food or I'm gonna die, And so I tried to Google it on my phone, and of course there was no Chinese food anywhere in the area. But what I did find was the history in terms of Chinese people here in the Pacific Northwest. And I don't know if are any of you familiar with this period that was called the driving out period that happened? Make some noise if you're familiar with this. Okay, very hesitant. They're like, maybe. Which driving out period are you talking about? So in the late 1800s, early 1900s, when the Chinese were building the railroads, right? There were a lot of Chinese people here. I'm sorry, I'm losing my articulateness. And there were a whole bunch of Chinese people living in the railroad. Okay, and then what happened was that people were not feeling that here. The white settlers here were really angry about that. So there was actually 400 Chinese communities that were forcibly expelled from the Pacific Northwest. We're talking by gunfire, we're talking by bombing, we're talking about violent expulsion of Chinese communities. So it's so interesting, we can look at diversity, we can look at, how life is today, but there's a lot of different things, so many things, as we heard so beautifully tonight in Monologues, so many invisible things that happen that make that the case. So this is kind of to say, this, I don't know how that segues into this, but it will make sense, it will, I swear. But, so this piece I'm going to do is actually a piece that I wrote, again, thinking about history and things that you don't really know about and the things you just start to learn, is I'm really interested in the history of Asian American performance. People make it seem like I'm a unicorn, like I sprung out of the earth, like, oh my goodness, Asian American performer, how did this happen? Especially my parents, right? But, when I was doing some of this research, and, speaking of, circuses and things, the very first on-record Asian American woman on U.S. soil was actually brought by, Barnum and Bailey Circus. It was a Chinese lady named Afang Moy. And you know what they had her do in the circus? Be herself. She was just in a room and people would watch her use chopsticks. I'm not joking. Look it up. Life is crazy. Life is crazy. Yeah. So anyway, we'll talk about Afang Moy. So also thinking about the history of, back in the 1930s and 40s, there was actually a tap dance duo. An Asian American tap dance duo in the 1930s and 40s. They were named Choi and Wing. They were not both Chinese. One was Chinese and one was Japanese, and those were not their names. But they figured that American people just would be able to get 20
Toy and Wing, easier. You know, they're like, we'll work with you, you work with us, we'll be And they actually toured all across the U.S. They toured with like really famous, you know, Artie Shaw's band. They toured with the Nicholas Brothers, if you know any of this vaudeville, like some of the originators of jazz, some of the originators of tap dance. They were on Broadway in the 1940s. You can't get an Asian on Broadway now, you know? These, you know, people, they're tap dancers. People wonder how I became a star. How do you become an Asian American tap dancer in the 1930s and 40s? So, which actually Paul Jew, who was actually Paul Wing or whatever, he actually grew up really poor, I think in Los Angeles, and he was selling newspapers, right? And he saw another kid across the way, a young black kid, was tap dancing and selling newspapers. And he was like, oh man, I better learn how to do that so I can sell more newspapers. That's how he started tap dancing, and he loved it. I love it, it's amazing. You know, at this time, like, Japanese people were being interned. Dorothy Toy, I mean, again, that wasn't her real last name, I think her last name was Nakanishi. Her family was put into the internment camps in Topaz, Utah. During this time, while they were performing all throughout these clubs in New York, and they used to perform in these clubs, it was called the Chop Suey Circuit, you know, back in the day, right? So this is a piece that I've been working on for them, so this is just how it's working. 1. The smile, voicelessness, body, feet, your foot is the drum. There is no way to silence. Even under the master's whip, the overkeeper's watch. In the body is the song. Over the ocean came the song. In the dark stench survives the song. The clang of shackles and the song. 2. The Yiddish fiddler plays, bowing the strings with elbows forced. The piano sags its weight on the stage. The smoke is thick, the costumes are tight. The entrances in and out are divided by the stage. Money divided by the stage. Burnt cork and shoe polish, leather shoes and feather fans. The glasses are clinking. The white patrons have their hands in gloves, and the women with their silken strands and pressed curls. 3. Toy and Wing are backstage, lacing on their shiny silver taps. She has her hair in rollers with setting lotion. He straightens his bow tie. He holds his hand out to her and feels the pressure inside of her, whirling to a twirl. There counts a whispered mantra. 1 and 2 and step bump change. 1 and 2 and step. His foot juts forward, slide against the tile floor. He curves her in, he curves her out, he curves her in, he curves her out. Next to the dressing room, the cooks scrape dishes, run blistered knuckles under hot water. They use the same entrance as the performers. In and out, in and out. A nation of segregated houses, doors to disparate realities. In and out, in and out. 4. Toy and Wing step to the stage. The crowd goes wild. The Asian Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers, look at them go. Center of gravity bobbing, backs leaning, hands extended, and the sound, that clear jingle of the tap sound. Not the enemy, but the entertainment. Not an equal, but a phenom. Hear that tap sound, that revolving tap sound that comes from not having a voice or a way to freedom. Overseas in the body, hear that drum sound. 5. On the stage, nobody dies. Not tonight, nor any other night. There are no nooses hung from trees in California, bullets sprayed at buildings in Tacoma. There are no bodies in the street or collapse in railroad mines, just Toy and Wing, dancing that clear jingle tap sound. So if you want to look them up, they are on YouTube, you know, just check out them. They took this for YouTube, you know, all these things you learn. Everybody doing all right? So just in terms of time check, we're just going to go to 9:30, so we have 14 more minutes of poetry. So those of you who want to hang tight and you really need to know who the winners are at the end, we're in it to win it. We got 14 minutes to go. Okay, everybody all right? Yeah. Cool. So this is a piece that I almost never do because there never seems to be a context for it. And in terms of my religious background, I grew up in kind of like a mixed Buddhist Christian household, you know, so it's like very confusing. And most of my knowledge of the Bible really came from Baptist kindergarten. So I'm not coming from the same like perspective of having gone to
you know, like Catholic schools my whole life and all that, but it's interesting because I find spirituality really finds its way into my work. And I'm somebody, you know, for whom spirituality is very important. So this is a piece that I actually wrote about Noah and his art. And I thought that you all might appreciate it. You know, if I'm in a normal, like, you know, the erotic poetry set, I'm like, I don't think Noah and the Ark is going to do it tonight. But, yeah, so this piece is called 40 Days and 40 Nights. It must have felt good, Noah, to be the first chosen one, although you were not the last. At God's will, you built the ark, grounded the birds and beasts 2 by 2 for the journey. Did your neighbors think you insane, building this Hulk in your backyard? Pious Noah, lunatic Noah, who cares? Let's go sell this cattle. Did you feel proud that all of these on earth, just as God told you, of all these wretched on earth, you were a man above men? No one dared call you a god, but you had the right stuff, the kind that the big guy wanted for humanity to last. So the sheep bleated, and the giraffes pawed, tied to wooden posts outside your front door. Some would have to be sacrificed, like that bastard leopard monkey who kept playing tricks on you, throwing stones of fruit at your head, smearing poop in your footsteps. You had a timeline to meet, an entire ship to fill. You, your wife, and your children were going to have to survive for who knows how long. You didn't think God would let you kill any of your pairs of saved on board, but secretly, your wife stowed a few extra chickens, and without question, you ate the roasted meat and the boiled eggs. You kissed her gently on the forehead as she served them to you. 40 days and 40 nights of rain and rocking, animals screeching, rearing their heads, scrambling hooves and claws. You feared the boards would soften, then snap, the boat weighty with shit. You hoped God would protect you from drowning, but there was certainly no magic in this. Your wife huddled herself on the floor, and you allowed her these eccentricities as you grew tired of the dullness of your family's voices and the frenzied shrieks of animals. Your boys exhausted themselves from crying and clung to each other in a way that they would never cling to each other again. I'm so embarrassed. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, now here's the rest of it. I'm like, wait, that wasn't the end. But I was like, where's the rest of the poem? Well, let's pretend that didn't happen. Eraser for mine. Your boys exhausted and clung to each other in a way that they would never cling to each other again. You were willing to weather the first 40 days, 40 nights, and the next 150. Such was the price of greatness and divine selection. While outside, all of your friends and neighbors drowned. While outside, all of the trees you tended, the roads you paved, the birds that took flight outside your window each morning, you couldn't save them all. Your wife's sister, her children, God told you that they were wicked, and who were you to disagree when we saw you, chose you, felt within you the clarity of a star. And when the dove alighted with her olive branch, your exhales pushed the boat forward, heavy and slow. The sun shone high and bright. You lowered the ladder as the animals fought their ways out. You were the last to leave, afraid of the new world before you, anxious to enter the wreckage it took to get there. Everybody doing all right? Yes? So this next piece I'm going to do, I actually just finished doing a spoken word theater show that was 3 different women in New York. The premise of it is 3 different Asian American women in New York 10 years after September 11th. And they're in conversation with Mary Magdalene, Guan Yin, and Aisha. So it's an interfaith exploration of all these different issues. So I'm going to do a little piece from that play, actually, if that's all right. So I'm going to do kind of like, usually I have 2 people with me doing this, but I'll do kind of like the first from Act 2. My character is a veteran who's just returned home from the war in Iraq. But yeah, this is, and the name of the total piece is called See You Turn My Head. In the city that never sleeps, call to prayer on the corner, storefront church on the block, temple beside the hot dog stand, goddess circle at midnight. In the city that never sleep, curls of hair twist before the ear, Jehovah's Witness on a bike, amulet hangs from necklace chain, encircle the wrist with prayer beads. In the city that never sleeps. Ancestor shrines next to Pokemon cards, drum circles in the park, house dance until dawn spirits fly, yoga mats strewn with caffeinated ohms. In the city that never sleeps, 8 million prayers held on the in-breath, 8 million prayers that may never come out. Lips, words, being, sound, silence, silence, sacred, sound. Echo, 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 call. What sounds like silence isn't silence at all. Oh, this is the second part of it, where she's in the character in Act 2. Welcome to Tuesdays at the Triangle Bar. That's Cray on the ones and twos. He still spins vinyl. None of this MP3-ish. That's Dopey on the mic. He used to be kind of whack, but he works really, really, really hard. That's Maria. She's one of the best B-girls in town. She won all city last year. That's Sock, the bartender. It's my first night back. Wait. Not yet. I'm not back yet. Creaky door of Baba's Cadillac, Chinese opera on cassette, thunder heavy in the sky, fat raindrops on the passenger side, sisters squawking in the back seat. No one talks about mama. Twitchy click of the turn signal, cats at the pizza shop yelling, "Hey yo!" Shake of the 7 train, fan air blowing, stop in the driveway. Come back home. My sisters are a wave of perfume. They go tick, tick, tick up the stairs. Baba behind them, behind me. With my rucksack, buckles and straps dangling, my boots scrape the stairs. It's wet outside. Street lamps buzz, gas and glass haze. Yellow. Before I left for Iraq, Baba gave me this. Guanyi, the goddess of mercy. A little insurance to hang next to my dog tags. He should have given me Guangdong, the god of war. Ooh, my vinyl, the touch, the feel of the ridges. Oh, my Tito Puente, my Nina Simone, my BDP, Tribe, Common, Latifah. Ooh, my iPod kept me alive while I was out there. Other soldiers had playlists, you know, combat playlists. Songs to juice them up for battle. Eminem, Slayer, Metallica. Not me. I needed my vinyl. I needed my voice from the Triangle Bar. I needed Queens. I needed home. I just want to hear that needle in contact. I just want to hear the sound. I woke up this morning, still thinking I'm at my barracks, ready for my morning mission, I roll out of bed and hit the floor, try to take cover, I realize that I'm not where I think I am, I see my old stuffed unicorn staring back at me, nothing but marbles for eyes. I realize where I am. Pretty stupid, huh? It's about that time. We only have one more piece left. So for the little commercial portion of this evening, if you want to keep in touch with me, my website is www.yellowgirl.com. That's GURL.com, which is meant ironically, so please do not call me Yellow Girl. And my Twitter is @YellowGirlPoet, and yeah, I'll be hanging around in the back. Afterwards in a reception, I got postcards and stickers, my mailing list, and I have some merch like chapbooks and CDs and stuff. But please do come talk with me, and I'd love to just hear your thoughts, reactions, feelings, from tonight. So for our last poem, I'm going to give you a choice. Do you all want to hear Weapons of Mass Creation, or do you want to hear Love is Easy, Relationships Are Hard? Love is Easy. Okay, right, yeah, sure. You also know this? Yeah, so this piece is just called Love is Easy, Relationships Are Hard. If the timing is right, if the communication is clear, if the geography can be condensed, if the sleep habits are compatible, if the eating habits can be arranged, if the toilet bowl stays scrubbed, if the taxes are paid, if the credit isn't shot, if the papers are legit, if the families are friendly enough, if the jealousy can be reined in, if the hygiene is on point, if the religious practices don't desecrate each other, if the lies recede to truth, if the truth stays off Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr, if the childhood trauma heals, if the teenage trauma heals, if the middle-age trauma heals, if the socio-political worlds collide and then settle, if the grudges can be finally let go, if we can do it. Just this one time for the love. And I think the moment we've all been waiting for. Drum roll.
And as I'm getting out the awards, clap, clap, clap endlessly for our fabulous MCs. And would like all the contestants to come forward, please. Fabulous, digitally made. Framework. Hold up the cheeks. Okay, and we know that it's not a competition. Somebody explain it. So you're all winners in my heart. Yes. So in third place for the 2013 Diversity Monologues, walking away with $25